Welcome back to Filmmaking for Noobs. I'm Kyle Lawrence, and today we're talking about how to get great audio for your films and how to record good audio for really cheap. What is the single most important factor in recording great sound for your films? There are three factors that I think are pretty common for people to think of when it comes to recording sound. The first is your recorder. The second is your microphone. The third is what's outside of those things, such as the ambient noise and the sound that you're recording. And I think that all three of these factors are very important and play a very key role in obtaining great sound. So today we're going to look at how to achieve recording great sounding audio and some ways that we can record great sound for really cheap. Now, if you just pull out your camera and start recording with your sound being recorded directly to your internal camera mic, regardless of what your opinion is as far as which of those three factors is the most important, you're probably not going to have great sound because in that sense, you have completely overlooked all three of those factors. If you rely upon the internal microphone on your camera, then your audio is going to sound just like this right now. It's going to sound like your audio was recorded using the internal microphone on your camera. We are going to talk about some ways to get great audio for really cheap because most of us don't have a lot of money to go spend on little shoots that we're doing. However, I will start by saying that if you are working in the professional world trying to do professional quality work that you're probably charging money for, and if you have a couple $1,000s to spend, I would highly recommend any of the great recorders by Sound Devices. I see Sound Devices recorders being used on set all the time on all sorts of different television shows and feature films. They are solid devices and they sound great and work really well. However, most of us probably don't want to go spend a few $1,000s on a recorder, especially if we're not necessarily doing this for a living or if we're doing just smaller videos or short films or student projects or whatever the case may be. However, there is a great recorder by Tascam called the Tascam DR40, which for under $200 gives you XLR and quarter-inch inputs and allows you to record two different channels of audio at the same time. If you're using multiple microphones or miking multiple actors, then coupling the Tascam DR40 recorder with a small and inexpensive mixer is a very low-cost solution that will be really handy and help you get great sound. In that case, I would highly recommend recording your boom mic directly to one of the inputs and recording the mix of your other mic'd actors to the other input. Normally in the film world, every microphone is recorded to an isolated channel, allowing for much greater flexibility in post-production. However, if you're trying to do this for low cost with a small recorder that only has two inputs, then that's not going to be an option. Another option, which I'll call the free option, is recording directly to your camera if you have a microphone input. If you're using only one microphone and your camera has a microphone input, then this may be the cheapest and simplest way to go by plugging your microphone directly into your camera. However, just always make sure that you check the microphone settings and the input levels on your camera because sometimes the auto levels on your camera don't sound the greatest. This is what my 5D Mark II sounds like when recording from an external microphone using automatic settings. Gross. I have a load of microphones, but I currently have two go-to microphones that I rely on for most of my work. The microphone that I use the most is a Sennheiser Wireless Lapel microphone, which is a professional level microphone that you will find in all sorts of performance houses and on big film sets. However, it's not a very cheap microphone. It will cost you about $600 to $700 for a complete package, which includes the microphone, the receiver, and a couple accessories that allow you to connect the microphone directly to your camera. But if you're on a budget like most of us are, there is a small and inexpensive microphone that you can find on Amazon for around $25. It's called the Boya M1 lapel microphone, which is great because it includes this long cord that you can plug in directly to your camera, and it is a lapel so you can still hide it underneath your shirt, although it is a little bit larger and might be a little bit harder to hide underneath a shirt. Right now you're hearing me through this microphone. This is the Boya M1 microphone. It sounds pretty decent, and for only $25 it actually sounds pretty good. The second microphone that I like to use a lot is this guy right here, the BM800 by Ohuhu. Ohuhu. I can't pronounce the Ohuhu. Anyway, it's a gold microphone that you can find on Amazon for around $30. And it actually sounds really good. I originally bought one of these for a video that I was filming, and I didn't intend on using it as a microphone. I just thought it looked cool and I planned on building it into the set. However, when I received it and I tested it out, I realized it actually sounded really good, so I bought a second one just in case. If you get the shock mount that goes with this microphone and stick it on a boom pole, it makes for a really great boom mic and it sounds really good. I have the Sennheiser ME66 and the Sennheiser ME67, which are professional level shotgun microphones. They'll cost you around $400 to $500 a piece. However, I actually think that using this microphone on a boom sounds better than using one of these guys on a boom. So this microphone makes a really great and inexpensive boom mic to use in your short films. Here are a couple tips for using your microphones. If you're going to be using a lapel microphone on your actor, be sure to position it around the mid to upper chest. Too high or too low is not going to sound as great. If you choose to use a boom mic, be sure to follow the action with the mic. When you have two actors having dialogue, if you simply set up a mic so that it's equally between the two of them, your audio may sound okay, however, it's not going to be as good as it can be. Following the dialogue with the mic and moving it over the head of the actor who is speaking, or pointing toward the actor who is speaking, is going to give you much better results. Just make sure you do this smoothly and gently in such a way that doesn't cause too much noise when you move the microphone and that doesn't interrupt an actor's performance. And the third thing to consider is ambient noise. Yes, it will be difficult to get great audio if you are filming near a busy highway or next to a freight train. Be conscious of and listen for ambient noises such as refrigerators, heaters, air conditioners, traffic, crowds, any other thing like that that may be running and creating noise in the background of your scene. It is usually best to eliminate these noises altogether. If need be, find a quieter place to film. If possible, turn these things off. If you need to, you can use a directional microphone or a lapel microphone to limit the amount of ambient noise that you take in. However, the best way to avoid ambient noise is by simply eliminating ambient noise altogether. It is usually best to not have any ambient noises around when you're filming and to add the ambient noises later in post-production so that you have greater control over the ambient noise levels versus the levels of the dialogue. Obviously, not all ambient noises are bad. If you're filming outside and you hear a faint sound of wind or some birds chirping in the background or distant noise of water running, that may not necessarily be a bad thing and would give you a much more natural sound to what you're shooting. However, if you're shooting a post-apocalyptic movie that takes place in a desert and you hear birds and running water, that's probably not going to work for your story. If you're too close to running water, you're probably going to hear more running water than you hear your actors, which is also not a good thing. One tip whenever filming at a location is to roll on 30 to 60 seconds of what's called room tone. This is where you set up your microphone, you have everyone else be quiet and not move at all for 30 to 60 seconds, and you simply record the sounds of the room. This is really helpful during production if you ever need to cut out a piece of sound from your shot, or if you have to dub dialogue later. I hope that these audio tips will help you go out and capture great sound. You will find links in the description of this video for the microphones that we talked about. This has been Filmmaking for Noobs. Go out, get some great sound, and let me know how it works. Thanks for watching.